Good afternoon, world. Hello, friends, family. Welcome to another episode of the Butt Moments of God. I'm Psalmist Debbie Thurston, and I am so honored to have with me today Terrance Pennington. He's a former NFL football star. And I mean, he is so awesome. I am so humbled to have him here. He's also author, and he's the founder of the TP Experience. And we're going to get into all of that. And who better to tell his story than Mr. Pennington? Isn't he handsome?
Yeah.
And he's so tall. He is 6'7"
Yeah. I get it. Honestly, my parents are tall. My mom about 6'1", so yeah, I get it. Honestly. I love it. No, you're the superstar, not me. I appreciate being here and the opportunity to be here to, talk and help people and share some real life things to help people out about what God does for us.
Amen. Hey, wow. Hey, I'm like, ooh, superstar.
I look at you. I love it. I love it.
Let me tell you, only God could do the things that he's been doing, bringing these awesome people into my life. Unexpectedly, I would just, thanks to Miss Helen and Miss Ada and those, they take me behind them and I just meet these beautiful people. And, I just asked Mr. Pennington, Terrance. I just asked Terrance, I said, would you be on the show? And he said, most definitely. And here he is today.
Yes.
Hey, let's wow, awesome. New York Giants, the Falcons, the Atlanta Falcons, and the other one,
Buffalo Bills.
Yes. This is what I am blessed to have sitting next to me. But now he's going to delve into his story, and who better to tell it than him? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, a lot of people see, me, I'm fit Terrance, but I want to have people understand the guy that behind the scenes, So I'm from Compton, California, where I'm from. So people talk about that movie NWA, and that's me. That's where I lived.
Okay.
And the thing about growing up in Compton is, hurt people. And it's a lot of hurt people. So me growing up, being the big guy, I was heavy set kid. So I was teased a lot, but also not just being the heavy set, being a tall 6'7", 6'8". So there was a lot of expectations set on me. And because I did not meet people's expectations when it came to sports when I first started, I was a big mama's boy. I still am a big mama's boy.
Mm-hmm.
So being a mama's boy, I was kind. I was kind. I was friendly, and that's not the thing when it comes to what people expect me to be a pit bull, right? When it comes to sports. So I used to get teased. You're soft. You're wasted height. You're this. You're fat. And then it affected my self-esteem. Any words that you hear over and over and over, you can start to believe it.
Of course,
so I started to believe like maybe I'm not handsome. I'm not good enough. I'm not that. So that pushed me to step away from challenges, as younger. So when it came to school and when it came to sports, I rather not show my flaws because of people exposing them. So it made me now have a new goal of, okay, not let me show my flaws. So now I started hiding my body, wearing big clothes, big shirts. When it comes to sports, being in the back and not being called out. So I know that had really shifted me from my childhood of having a goal is basically not to look foolish. But having that have affected me because, of course, during life, God's going to put challenges and stuff there, just like he did with Moses, right? When he told Moses to lead, and Moses was so, has so little faith in himself.
Right, because he stammered.
That's it. So not taking that challenge, and that was me and affected me. So fast forward, I had like a Peter Parker Spider-Man type feeling where, as I was growing older, and I'm in middle school, high school, too, still getting teased during school, but then on the football field, I'm getting praised, right? So it was weird kind of experience.
Trying to balance it out,
right. Being loved for being big, but then being scorned for being big. So it was a big confusion, of course. Mm-hmm. So going forward, I only played 1 year of football in high school before going to college.
Right.
And just to go back, I struggled with sports.
Right.
So I remember one day, this was my junior year, and there was a kid that got a scholarship to go to Stanford. And now I was a kid that I was a 2.0 student, just getting by. Didn't really have a goal, what I want to do, a purpose. It was just play video games, go to school, do what my mom and dad said, but I didn't have nothing I was chasing.
You didn't have that drive.
There we go. Right. And then when I basically the kid that got a scholarship to Stanford, that was actually the same college my father went to.
Okay.
And of course, growing up, you want to, as a boy, you want to make your father proud, things like that. And that was my way of like, oh, I have something now I can do to go to college. So I went to the coach and I had to be honest and vulnerable. And remember I told you, my goal was not to show my flaws, not to show, and I had to do the opposite and go up to him and say, hey, I want to go to college, but I don't know how to be great. I don't know how to, so I had to be vulnerable and honest. And that was one of the biggest steps in my life to where I had a coach kind of put time and pour into me and give me that. He met me where I was at.
Right.
And again, when you're having a high expectation from people and not meeting me where I'm at, and then that's when discouragement come and things like that. Right. So when he met me where I was at, and then his focus on improving and building, and it was a different perspective, a healthy perspective, where I just focused on just getting 1% better. So fast forward, got a scholarship, only played 1 year, had a great year, went to college, and I still have struggles, right? Because of now I'm in a whole new place. Right. And I'm in New Mexico University now. And New Mexico is it's not Compton. Okay. So it's hot, it's dry. I'm used to sunshine and 80 degrees. I'm like, what is this? But it was good because it was a time for me to get away from influences, friends, the fast life, right? To where God's like, no, I'm gonna sit you over here because I need to get you in a different influence, different environment.
And isn't that just like God? He will bring about separation in order for us to get to our destination and the purpose that he has for our lives. Of course, we always say it's a straight road, but it's a road and it's zigzag. But awesome. Awesome.
And but I didn't know that the journey basically drove me to meet this man, which is my college coach. Was a man that helped develop me. Right, when it comes to confidence and taking responsibility, ownership. I was a kid, I would make excuses. I got my master's in hiding and lying and, making excuses. So I needed somebody to, look through all the BS and say no, and somebody that will tell it to me straight. Right. Now, in the beginning, did I love that? Oh, no. Right? Because it's right. But then it's that moment where I had another moment where I had to be honest. So going to my junior year, my mom was hit with ovarian cancer. Oh, wow. So when she was hit, because my grandma, she had lung cancer, and when she got it, hit fast. So when my mom got ovarian cancer, I thought it might be that way. So I knew that my father might not be able to take care of all the finances. Oh, I don't know why I want to get emotional with it.
You go. Come on. It's fine.
Yeah, that's good.
It's okay. It is what it is.
Yeah. So basically, it was me making a decision that I needed to step up to help my family with finance. Right. So I went to my coach, and I was like, I need to go to the NFL. I need to help my parents out. It's hitting me. So basically said the same thing. Terrance, if you get your head out your butt and you do the work, you can do it. And I said the same thing. Like, I need help. I need that guidance. I need that, somebody that attention. Yes. And he did that. Ooh, crazy.
Hey, amen. Hey, yes. Yeah. And this is what we need, men to be real. There's nothing wrong with crying. There's nothing wrong with crying. Now you have me crying, but there's nothing wrong with crying. There's nothing wrong with a man, to see a man cry. It just shows the realness. It shows your heart and what God has done in you. Don't make me cry.
You're good. No, it just brings it back. Every time I share it, I get it. Yeah. But no, you're right. And these are real emotions and experiences. Yes. So that, again, I got a second why, a deeper why than me. And a lot of times, a lot of struggles I had was all about me growing up. And then it was always about how can I serve somebody else for me to get out of my comfort zone. Yes. So fast forward. I'm good. So fast forward.
This is
you know,
what we needed.
yeah.
Today. I needed this.
So fast forward, got development, got helped, and went to play NFL. And that was a time where I finally felt that I got the acceptance that I've been wanting for my whole life, right? Because I'm hearing this, oh my God, you're awesome, you play football. So hearing that felt good. But the problem with that was it affected my focus because I always say that rejection breeds addiction.
Of course,
and because of being rejected so much, and it felt good, so I lost a lot of focus when it come to playing sports and this, because I was so driven to get love. So I'm in the club, I'm partying, I'm doing all these things.
And that's what happens.
I'm having ladies saying, "Oh, you're awesome, you're handsome," compared to never getting that, and of course getting sucked up into it, right? So fast forward, got injured my last year with the Giants. I played for the Buffalo Bills a couple of years and the Falcons, and then went to the Giants, and I got injured. And when I got injured, it was one of the hardest part of my life because it happened just like that. And the doctor didn't know why it was hurt, how to fix it. So I'm thinking like, okay, am I getting cursed? Is this guy, are you mad at me? So I went through all that, and then when I left the NFL, I went to a bad time. And the reason I went to a bad place because I put my identity as a football player. So when it was taken away, it was like, well, who am I? What I'm supposed to do?
Trying to find out who you were.
That's it. And then, of course, feeling shame, regret of like, did I let my parents down, my family down? They're depending on me to help them. So for like 6 months, a year, I couldn't look at football, couldn't watch it. I was a hermit. All my money was dried up. So I remember one time I checked my account, and it was like, $24.
Wow. I feel you. I understand that. Listen, I remember when mine was 32.
Right. So I tell people, you want to climb a mountain, get a calendar. How long it takes to fall from a mountain, grab a stopwatch. And it happened just like that. And but it was my moment where God, again, he has a way to separate me. So he separated me from the crowd. He separated me from all distractions. So where I was just sitting, and he made me sit in it. I know a lot of times, like I said, man, we could run away from emotions, and I believe that's what I used to do when I was younger. So when I had emotions of struggling in school, I'm going to go to video games, or I'm going to go to this. So he made me really sit in it. And then me sitting in it made me really see a lot of things inside me that was off, meaning with my struggles with food and self-control and lust and attention and those things. So fast forward, I met a guy, and I met him just from going to the gym, working out. And again, I was a hermit, and he was like, man, you need to go to church with me. And I'm like, okay. And he kept saying, okay. And then one time I'm like, all right, I'll go just to shut him up, right? And when you go to church and you have that service and you're like, is he talking to me? It was that moment, and I was like, oh my God. And the pastor was Pastor Joseph Walker down there in Nashville, and then he had a podcast. And when I learned he had a podcast, it was like 15, 20-minute just talks. And it was something that I listened to every day. And it was something because I needed encouragement, and I was used to that from like playing sports, right? I always have a coach encourage, you're awesome, you can do it. And I saw that when I was away from football, I didn't have that. So I was missing it. So it was just Debbie Downer and negative Nancy thoughts all the time, and not having somebody.
Be a Debbie Downer.
So me just listen to the word, and again, I went to private school all my life, and be honest with you, I'm from Compton. And my environment, friends, they just wasn't excited about God and about serving, and of course my environment, so I just never got into it, and even my family, they believe in God, Jesus, but they wasn't like, oh, let's read the Bible, let's read this. And when my dad used to give me the Bible, he used to always give me the King James Version. So when I'm reading it, I'm like 12 years old, and I'm like, thou shalt. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, this is too hard. I can't read.
He didn't know about the nib and all of the other words.
I didn't know. My dad old school, so he didn't meet me where I was at. Right. So it discouraged me growing up to read the Bible because it felt like trigonometry or something, So when I basically was listening to it, and then basically somebody was telling me about the Bible, reading it, and I'm like, they're like, no, there's the other translation. And when I learned it, like, oh,
Right.
And that's when I started to study, and I saw myself. I felt like Jacob when
Right.
when God dislocated his hip, and then that
Right,
limp
right.
reminded him. I felt that same way of my foot. I'm like, okay, is this my reminder to keep me humble? Or just so many stories in the Bible, and I just saw like, dang, that's me. Dang, that's me.
Right.
But I also saw of just understanding grace and understanding Jesus' ways.
Right.
And it was so huge. So it was a big transformation for me, Debbie, because playing football, and a lot of men were real big on competing and
Yes.
comparing.
Yes.
And me having a competing, comparing, and performance mindset was basically everything against Jesus. Right, so my thing was, well, I got to work to get,
Right.
to get love for Him. So me trying to work and work and work, and still not understanding grace, and still not understanding
Right,
that
and
was
mercy,
hard.
right.
It was hard for me until again, just staying in that development. So fast forward, I had a lot of vices I struggle with, pornography, marijuana, or just things that I used to escape my anxiety or worries or pains. And these are things I have battled with for so many years in the past. And those things have built, of course, guilt, shame, and those are things that really affect me.
So you and I had a conversation, and you named. I'm like, what are we going to call this show? And you said your Damascus
Moment. Yep.
moment.
Yeah.
So explain, explain
absolutely.
to the audience,
Yeah.
explain to the world, actually, because we're in front of a couple of million people.
Yeah.
So explain to them what you meant by that.
Well, I would say the Damascus moment when it happened with Paul, when Jesus asked, like, why are you persecuting me? Why are you? And I felt that way, when I was at home and out there in the field and just sitting there, and then just having God just really talk to me. But basically what he said was that, for me, this is for me, basically said is that how you see yourself is how you treat yourself.
Yes.
And I know that for me, how I saw myself for so many years showed up also how I treated myself when it came to I would do everything for everybody else, but not for myself.
Right.
And I really looked at that and saw that it was a self-worth issue, right? And then I really had a shift and asked myself, who am I going to work for to get acceptance from? Man, or is it going to be me? And again, it was always me trying to get accepted from man, and that always brought negative or not the right way, to where now it's like, I now work to make him proud, and instead of trying to make man proud, because we know that.
Amen. Yes. And that is paramount.
Yeah.
We need to be focused on God and His will, not our will, not the will of man.
Yes.
Because it is He who wakes us up every day. It is He who determines our future, whether we believe it or not. He said, I knew you before you were even conceived in your mother's womb. So God knows our beginning and He knows the end. And if we just follow the blueprint, we may hang the door on wrong sometimes, but we have the opportunity to go back and put it back and hang it the right way and continue on with the path that He has purposed for us. We just have to believe it and have faith. And
I love that.
that is where I talk about the TP experience. Yes.
And the reason I call it TP experience, because my goal is to share my experience of how I changed my weight and how I, just transform. That's what I call it. So the TP experience is it's basically a program. I help people, men and women, majority men, with just people who are lost. They want to be in alignment with their health, wealth, relationships. And my whole goal is to help men to get back together mentally and physically. And then when we start there, and how I do it for me is it's more online. The reason why I do it online, because I want to reach so many people. But I love it because seeing men being vulnerable and sharing about their struggles, and of course, we go into the man cave. We don't really talk, so it's a program to help guys, people to get in shape, to renew, but more than anything, to be seen, heard. And I believe that a lot of us are not seen, not heard. I believe a lot of us wear a mask.
Of course,
and it's an environment where I give them permission and give them acceptance to take off the mask
and be vulnerable
and be their real self, and that has been a game changer. So I love it. Since 2016 is when we started the TP experience, and we all over got clients in China and Europe, and it's powerful. But the more gratifying thing is seeing myself in them, and you know, we're so similar, but when we can be truthful, we'll learn that, man, we're so much the same when it comes to pain and hurt and things like that.
And that in itself is so very important. Being honest, being honest, because there are so many young men out there who have been taught you don't show any emotions. You know, you're not supposed to, but when they see somebody like you, NFL player, football player, now you're in front of the world speaking in this, you're an author in this. And, you know, when people can see that kind of emotion, just how you cried, I've cried, and I know everybody out there, you know, it truly makes a difference. It truly makes a difference. And we have this book. It's called the Terrance Pennington Play by.
Yes,
Tell us about this.
So basically, this book is show how I transform. What I want the readers to know is I go back to my childhood and go through the journey, because I believe that's where a lot of us maybe miss that, and we get beat up so much, but we don't understand about learned behaviors and trauma experiences. So I want to show the good, bad, and the ugly, and it's not more of just a weight loss book of eat this, eat that. It's more of going through my 100-pound journey of struggling, of going to friends' house, and I'm like, I'm gonna eat right, and I go there and I mess up, or you know, or just different, just strongholds that I had, you know, saying that I'm not disciplined, not consistent, I can't do it, or just also learning of how to have a formula. So there's a formula I teach is plan, commit, win, repeat, and that's a play-by-play. So I just teach people, if you're struggling on your weight loss journey, you look at those 4 steps. Are you planning? Are you committing to your plan? Do you win the temptations or the lazy moments? And do you have a system, a routine? That's why I say repeat, because you got to do it again, do it again, do it again.
And this is online. When you go online and you sign in, there you have all of the costs and everything there, okay? And where can we find this book?
Yes. You go to the tpexperience.com. You could go there, or you can always find me, of course, on Instagram or Terrance Pennington. But the tpexperience.com is where you can purchase a copy.
I can't work. Yes, and I am so blessed. I have a signed copy.
I love it.
I have a signed copy. I am so blessed. Yes. I mean, wow. I can't wait. I'm going to go online and look at your program and all of that, because like me, I'm mostly vegan. So I was just asking him what to do, like in terms of meat and all that idea. But and he told me he has everything. So I'm like, yay.
And I love what you're saying, because again, my background was football. So what I specialize in is I help people to create a playbook that fits them. And what I believe where people struggle with when it comes to getting fit is that they're trying to do what he do and she do. It's like me and you going to college, and you like, oh, let's go into medical field. I'm like, okay. And I go in the beginning, but you're excited, you're fascinated with it, but I'm like, and then after a while, I'm gonna miss a class, and miss another class, and I'll drop out. So I believe that you gotta find what you like, your strengths, your weaknesses, because everybody's skills different. You have kids, I don't have kids. You work nighttime, I work day shift. So I believe that that a lot of us set ourselves up to make it harder for ourselves, and that's why my job is to let people know, like, hey, it's not you, it's just your strategy. And once we separate the two, and people think that it's me, I'm not good enough, I'm not, and that's when the enemy uses it, and that's again how you see yourself, how you treat yourself. So I'm just real big to just to meet people where they're at, and then also understand that, hey, it's a journey. So we're not looking to do it in 1 day, in 2 days. That's like me saying, I'm going to be like Jesus in 2 months. That's not going to happen, right? It's a lifetime process. So for me, being 27 years old when I started, I lost my 100 pounds in a year. But I told myself, Terrance, you could take 1 year and just really focus on renewing yourself to really turn around, and it did. And it was the best experience, because I believe your weight loss journey is like the journey when the Israelites took from Egypt to the Promised Land. Because a lot of times I try to cut corners, and one thing I tell people is that you can't cheat God.
No.
So you can do all these little fad diets, but God sit back and laugh. It's like, I made your body in a way where it won't work that way.
That's right.
And just like the Israelites try to do their way, and I kept going around that mountain 40 times. And that was me, where I was going around this mountain 40 times until I just submitted to what God wanted. And when I submitted to it, life became so much more easier and abundant, and that's why I want to share with others that, man, His plan, His way is so much freer and better.
Of course, yes, and it shows. You can look in your face and see the chains, whatever they were, they're broken, they're being broken, and you are such an inspiration. Oh my gosh, you truly inspired me today, and I know that when this airs, there are going to be so many, especially young men, who are going to be inspired to see, again, somebody like you with tears. That is not a normal thing, but it's so refreshing to see. It gives them the knowing, to know that it's okay for a man to cry. And I love that with you, Mr. Pennington, Terrance. That is so.
Well, I would say that it shows your real strength, but also it shows your courage. And then, you're right. Being a football player, again, is learned behaviors. You don't cry on the field. You don't cry, right? So, it is changing your principles, your paradigm shift and belief. So, I love it. You're awesome, girl.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Mr. Pennington, Terrance, I have to get used to saying Terrance. It was such a pleasure. And please, I do want you to come back, because I know there is so much more that we can get out of you. It was such a blessing to me today. Wow. I mean, come on, sing. Thank you so very much. Whew. I'm still reeling here. Wow. Oh, God. But anyway, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, world. Amazing grace, oh, sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my face relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior, has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy reigns. Unending love, amazing grace. The Lord has promised God to me. His word my hope secures. He will my shield and portion be, as long as life endures. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior, has ransomed me.
His mercy reigns, unending love, amazing grace. My chains are gone.